All right, everybody, welcome. You guys ready to rock tonight?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now here's the rule for any time I teach, okay? You have to talk. When I look at you and I ask you questions, I'm legitimately looking for answers. So don't just sit there and stare at me like we're the movie owner or something, okay? I'm not that entertaining, so we have to interact together. Fair? All right, so let's go and get started. All right, so this is really important to me, this first statement we did. I've been in practice for almost 39 years. I've been doing this, all right? My vision is to ensure everyone has a healthy life by empowering you to take control of your health. All right. That way, for future generations, my kids, your kids, and we have a healthy world. So the goal is to make sure I want you guys to have a healthy life. I don't want you to manage your next symptom or deal with that. We want to get you as healthy as possible. Okay. So that's the strategy I went before. Now, everything we're going to go through tonight is not my opinion. It's the opinion of all the experts. And there's a lot of the reference in this program. We're lost through. Now, we're going to walk through this in a 3-step process. What's going on? Why is it happening? And more importantly, what's the next step? Right? We got to take action. We're not just going to get information. Information without action is completely worthless. Okay? So let's talk about the top spenders. $201 billion with a B dollars is spent on mental health in this country. Okay? And that's insanity. I mean, look at it. These heart conditions, trauma, cancer, it's killing it. They're making a boatload of money and not a lot of people are getting well. And it's frustrating to me because it shouldn't be happening. Right now, 9 million people have anxiety. 7.7 million PTSD. Right now, we've got obsessive compulsive 2.2. And the guy that's the big winner, I guess it's winner. Okay, 15 million Americans have some type of a depression. Okay, and if we look at it worldwide, globally, 350 million human beings are suffering from depression. Mm-hmm. That's. I'm sorry, but that's a bad joke. But it's insanity. There's got to be a better way. There's got to be answers for us. Okay, so my whole point in showing you these numbers is I want you all to realize you're not alone. Okay, because one of the most devastating things when I talk with patients is you think you're the only one. You know, it's funny. People say, why do you have open adjusting and open everything? You realize that closed rooms are the worst possible way for you to heal. Every research study that's ever been done shows group settings is a support for healing because you're listening to other people. I'm having this too, or we're in this together and everybody can work through it. So that's why I like the open setting. But we're going to make sure we get you better, okay? So where's this problem coming from? Well, of course, we know what the answer is, right? It's chemical imbalance. Watch every commercial. Watch every commercial. Well, here's the problem with this chemical imbalance thing, okay? This is it. The problem is, I went too fast, sorry. Okay? It's not true. We've been lied to about it. Okay, this chemical imbalance story has a problem. It's never been proven. And yet they put it out there to make you feel bad. See, it's never been proven that chemical imbalance, although it's been stated with great confidence that depressed people have serotonin and epinephrine and norepinephrine imbalances, it's never been tested or proven. And yet it's out there as common knowledge. Okay? David Burns, MD, here's what he says. I never saw any convincing evidence that any psychiatrist, now by the way, he's from Stanford University, so he's like, kind of prestigious, okay? So there's never any convincing evidence that psychiatric disorders, including depression, results from a brain deficiency of serotonin, okay? He further states, physicians who tell their patients that depression and anxiety result from chemical imbalances in the brain are confusing theories with facts, okay? Further, of course, drug companies encourage that message. Why? If it's a chemical problem, we can make chemical money, which is what drug companies do. Okay? In fact, we cannot even measure serotonin in the brain. You can measure it in the bloodstream. There's no biochemical way that we can measure serotonin. And yet it's been accepted as fact. By the way, this theory began in 1960 from a flawed study. But because it makes a lot of money, nobody wants to retest and point things out. Okay? So it's been wrong since 1990. That's when we absolutely defined and said it's not working. How long ago was 1990? little while ago, yeah? Why are we still doing it? Well, it's pretty simple. $4.1 billion in profit on just Cymbalta. So why not keep perpetuating something that's working and making us money, even though it's not helping anyone? I'm not saying that drugs sometimes don't help people. Sometimes you need those things temporarily as we're getting to the solution. Okay? So please don't misunderstand me. You guys, I mean, it is a serious, serious problem, but we need to start getting real answers to it. So if you're not depressed yet, you probably are now, because I'm kind of depressed. Okay? So again, I get it. If you're not depressed yet, I probably made you depressed. But let's get to some solutions. Let's talk about the tough questions nobody wants to answer. Number one, too far. Okay, number one. Why do mental conditions always seem to tie together to physical problems as well? Okay, I have anxiety and my heart races, my stomach and my brain is going to explode, right? I'm so depressed, I get horrible sciatica. My gut's going crazy, I have irritable bowel and I'm depressed as hell. Okay, why does that tie together? We're going to make answers to that. Why are they strongly predicted early life stress or heavy stress? So if it starts when you're very young, that's when it usually begins, or you can have a very serious acute trauma later in life. Okay, so a big one or a little one when you're very young because you're not ready to adapt to that environment. Okay, what if mental health issues are not a disease, but rather a symptom of something else? How we can find the solutions, right? Okay, what if mental health conditions are a whole body problem, a systemic problem that's manifesting as depression or whatever it might be? We'll answer those questions. Find out that we can get some answers to that. Okay? Now, I need you to raise your hand on this one. This is participation time, okay? All right, there's 3 types of stress in the world. Okay? There's physical trauma, accidents, injuries, falls, sitting in front of computers, texting. My favorite position in the whole wide world, makes me a lot of money. This, because I can do this and fix it, right? So that's that, okay? Chemical stress. Alcohol, cigarettes, junk food, medications, pesticides, herbicides, glyphosate. I mean, you name it, there's a chemical for it, and we are exposed. Microplastics. We are mostly plastic these days. And we now have to get those microplastics out, which is leading to all kinds of hormone disruption problems. Go ahead, if you would, just move your chair back, because you won't be able to see from that spot. Okay? And then the last one, emotional stress. Money, jobs, traffic, kids. How many people have, no, here's the participation time. You ready? So in the last week, how many people have had some kind of stress up there? Raise your hand. Okay? Yeah, everybody's hand went up. Why? Because we are inundated with stress of whatever type, not just emotional, but all the rest of them. How are we supposed to survive when we're so stressed out? Right? So the key element we got to remember is you can't get rid of stress. So you have to learn how to recover from stress, right? Because it's going to be there. You can't, people without stress are dead, and I don't want to be them. Okay, cool? All right. So early in life stress, and like I said earlier, it alters nerve circuits. That's important. That's altering nerve circuits, okay? And you get an exaggerated response. So it's a neurologic condition. Okay, that creates this. Okay, I feel like I was born this way, or I've had it for years. Who feels like that? Anybody? And it's just me now. I'm just that person, which is so sad when there's answers. Okay, so early life adverse events plus failure to adapt equals an altered trajectory in your life. So you're going through your life, and then a big trauma hits. Could be a car accident, a fall, an injury, or maybe it's a divorce, or whatever that stress might be, right? Or a chemical exposure, like glyphosate attacks the brain. So if you have loaded with glyphosate, which by the way is Roundup, in case you didn't know, okay? But Roundup passes through the blood-brain barrier and leads down to all kinds of potential problems, okay? So conceptually, we're on a different trajectory as a consequence of that stress. All right. So how do you create a new trajectory? That's really the question, right? Because you're on this trajectory. How about if we squeeze you, put you back on track, right? And that's the idea. Okay. And the answer lies in something called neuroplasticity. All right. Who's heard that word before? Ooh, I like that. Lots of you guys. All right. So for those who don't know about it, I'm going to run a short little video. It's 2 minutes long. But I think it really helps people understand this neuroplasticity thing. Okay. So this is from this book right here. The brain can change itself.
Until very recently, our best and brightest scientists and physicians believed that the adult brain couldn't change. Our brain circuits were formed and finalized in childhood. Now we discover that the brain is plastic, meaning changeable. But not all change is good. That changing brain can actually do us harm. Obsessive compulsive disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder, and even schizophrenia. But the mind can harness the damaged brain's plasticity to change itself. And now we are finding new treatments for mental diseases and disorders once thought incurable.
When you would tell people, hey, this is your brain sending you a false message, it would help them.
We might actually change the whole course, the whole trajectory of someone's life.
This is medicine. This has outcomes that are medical. It changes brains physically. It changes them chemically. It changes them functionally.
We do not yet see where the limits will be. There are still big new surprises.
That is Dr. Norman Doidge, and he wrote a book called The Brain That Changes Itself. The discovery of neuroplasticity is the discovery that our brains can change their structure and function through mental experience alone. It signals the most important change in our understanding of the brain in 400 years, because for 400 years we thought of the brain as though it were like a machine with parts, and that view of the machine-like brain gave rise to a neurological fatalism, because it meant people who were born with brain damage or who sustained brain damage as they developed were condemned to live with it, because machines do many glorious things, but they don't grow new parts, and they can't reorganize themselves.
So isn't that interesting, isn't it? I think it's like wild that your brain can grow and change and modify. And that's what's neat. See, actually, want to hear an interesting story? Okay, it's a research that they published in one of the journals, but they said that this guy, just a guy, and he had fallen off a ladder and hurt himself and went to the hospital. Well, they were concerned he might have had a brain concussion, so they did an MRI. Okay. Now he had a job, he has kids, he has a wife, he had just a normal life, right? And what happened? It did an MRI. He only has half a brain. So do you see that? Now, so if the truth was the truth, he shouldn't be okay. But what you just learned is the brain is malleable, it's changeable. So it's plastic doesn't mean it's made of plastic. It means it can change and modify. If you go to the gym and you work out, what's going to happen to your muscles? They're going to get bigger, they're going to modify. So if you get input into the brain will grow and change and modify. You see? So if we can get that change, that's what we're after. That's the whole idea here. So where's this disconnect? It has to do with bad inputs create bad outputs. So that stressor that hits your brain, went into your nervous system, went into your brain and put you on a different trajectory as a consequence of that stress. And your brain started to build itself sick. You follow? And so what happens is the bad inputs create bad outputs, and your brain adapts to whatever you feed it. I want you to remember that. Whatever you feed the brain, it adapts to that environment, it grows and changes. That could be a good thing, or it can be a bad thing, right? So we got to make sure we're feeding our brain with good stuff. All right, so it all ties to one thing only. The nervous system is everything. Not one thing, it's everything. It's nothing else. So we've got to get the nervous system modified in order to get these things changed. It's about nervous system function. So stress, when you think about stress, what does it do to you? Okay? Physical stress on the body, emotional stress, right? Chemicals modify the nerve signals and we tense up, right? And that tension pulls your bones into misalignment. The spine becomes misaligned and the nervous system cannot function properly. Now remember, the nervous system is a two-way street. It's inputs and outputs. Not just a one, you're not just telling the heart to pump, telling the stomach to digest. You receive environmental input that creates the outputs, right? And so whether you're getting bad inputs or bad outputs, you're still going to malfunction. So remember, this is a simple little metaphor to remember. The body is always talking to the brain through that clean nervous system, and the brain activates healing. That's how it works. That's the system. That's the way it's designed. So your spine has a perfect alignment, okay? It has 3 beautiful curves of 45 degrees and straight from the front, which is demonstrated on x-rays. Okay, so you can see that. So that's a perfectly aligned bone. You can see the bone, the hole where the nerve comes out, and there's that healthy nerve right there. See it? Now, what happens? You misalign the spine, and now the nerve becomes sick. Now, if that's an input nerve, what kind of message is your brain receiving from the environment? The wrong message, a confused message, some type of an input that's inappropriate. And if it's an output nerve, it's going to make the heart malfunction. Maybe it's anxiety, panic attacks, racing heart. What if it goes to your stomach? Now you've got irritable bowel, Crohn's disease, things like that. Maybe it's pancreas for diabetes, type 2, right? So all of this, it all impacts through that nervous system. So, but here's my question to the group. Got to answer this one, another group participation. Misalign the spine and crush a nerve. What's that feel like in your back and neck? Go. Hurts.
Pain.
Ouch. Hurts. Pain. Not fun. Misalign the spine and don't touch a nerve. What does that feel like? It would be hard.
Ease.
You don't feel it. Which one's more serious? Crushing the nerve or not crushing the nerve? Not crushing. Oh, somebody said, I got a dissenting opinion. How come?
Because you don't know you're messed up.
And you don't do anything about it.
But
See the problem? That's my biggest dilemma in the world. If I could help people understand that concept, we can get the babies under care, the kids under care, get them fixed when they're little, malleable and changeable, and keep them healthy their whole lives. Imagine the transition in this world. So I'm a weird dude. I think I can change the world. I think I really can. And if we just get enough people on board with that message, let's get and keep people healthy. And the younger you start, the better it is. Okay? So misalign and don't touch there. You don't do anything about it. Thank you for that. Okay. And so what happens? You end up eating that disc away, bone spurs form, degenerative change. Look at that poor nerve. There's no room for it to flow. So you're getting bad inputs and bad outputs. So look at the difference in the two. See the difference? So that's what we're done. Now that takes, that particular picture takes about 25 years of neglect. Okay? So you can have earlier things and later. The later you are in the process, the more damage is done, the harder it is to correct. That's why you take action instantly and start working towards that. Okay? And this was my favorite study. Read the words. Beyond a doubt, adjusting the brain, adjusting a subluxated spine, that means poorly aligned, that's all that means, changes brain function. It simply changes the way the brain functions. Because it's receiving the inputs so the brain can grow and change and positive outputs. Okay? So there's our curve we're talking about. See that 45-degree curve? So a normal curve of 45 degrees allows a free flow of electrical messaging to and from the body. Okay? So this type of spinal damage takes years off your life. Okay? We're going to take a road trip. You ready? We're going to leave this room. We're going to go across the street to the elderly care facility. How many people look like this in that facility? Watch me. Recognize the posture? Yeah. Recognize the posture. Yeah. See what we're getting? And I see this at record numbers in children now. Because we give those kids devices and we go to dinner and they're sitting on that stupid device hunched over their monitors and things. It's getting worse and worse and worse. And we wonder why there's 350 million people with troubles with mental disorders. Makes logical sense to me. Okay? There's our bus. So there's the perfect curve. Now this is this shows it on, I showed you in the models. Now let's look at a real world example. Okay, perfect curve. You can see the reverse curve. Now look what happens if you add 10 to 15 years. See the decay and the buildup? So that's bad inputs leading to bad outputs. All right. So the answer is simple. Corrective chiropractic adjustments are the key to unlocking that health. If we get the body talking to itself, it'll do well. Example. Started off, there's an accident. We don't do pain management care here. Not to say your pain won't go away if you have back pain, neck pain, or whatever. That's just a byproduct of what we do. But we're corrective. We're going to make sure it gets fixed. Okay? We're not going to treat the symptom of back pain or symptom of whatever we got. So she started off at a -9. Our goal is 45. And this is what she started with right here. Okay, this is day 1 in the office. She had 3 kids. She's a teacher, neck pain, fatigue, brain fog, high blood pressure, hypothyroid, weight gain, 7 meds, including our friend Celebrex. Okay, and also you have the Ambien and Xanax as well in there. And then she had no insurance, paying $1,400 a month for medications. Okay, now take a look at her now after 1 year of getting the necessary intervention. Okay, she's off all her meds. Okay, before and after. How was the trajectory of her life transformed? How's the trajectory of your life going to be transformed? The same way. Because she's no different. She's not unique. She's a nice person, but doesn't make her different. She just, had some struggles and got through it. Now 12 months later, okay? All right, this is Jake, okay? Before and after. See the 45 curve in there? Okay? Vertigo, anxiety, asthma, and migraines gone. Anxiety, one of those things, right? So let me ask you something, okay? Is there something in your body that just doesn't feel right? Something's not right inside of me. And you've gone to doctor after doctor after doctor, and they tell you the same thing. You're normal. I can't find anything. All the tests are negative. I don't know what's going on. And then magically, they hand you the script. If there's nothing wrong, why are you giving me a medication? Right? Well, we'll give you medication to suffer through until it gets, so we can help you feel better. And I get their model, right? I'm going to make you feel better. My heart's breaking right now. I don't know what to do for you, but if I give you medication, it'll help you feel better. Mm-hmm. And then what happens? Now you end up on the addiction train, and it's ugly. Okay? Or maybe this is you. Maybe this is your story right here. Okay? You've had this for years. You've tried many things, and you decided this is just me. It's who I have to be. It's what I've been stuck on. Which isn't fair. Because that story about this brain imbalance chemical thing, it just frustrates me to no end. The problem is this, okay? Most people are told to treat the symptom, not get to the source. Okay, the big question is, why is my body doing this? Why am I malfunctioning? That's what we have to answer, right? And it all lies in that nervous system, like I said. So here's what we know now at this point in the program we're talking about here. The brain and body are always adapting to whatever the environment is. So it receives the inputs, changes, and adapts to that environment so you can recover, okay? Then neuroplasticity says we can change and grow. The brain can change and grow, period. It can. It's beyond a shadow, it's proof, okay? But here's the key. It changes based upon the signals from your body, okay? So you've got to get clean inputs in order to get clean outputs. So if you get clean inputs, the brain's going to go, well, that was a childhood trauma. That had nothing to do with me. You're going to look at it as an adult and say, this is ridiculous. That wasn't my fault. There's no reason I should be suffering from this. And the brain will start to grow and adapt. And then before you know it, your body will start growing, and you'll start growing in that new trajectory. Okay? Where do the signals come from? Your spine and nerves, right? And so the spine has to be where it's supposed to be. If it's not properly aligned, the brain signals are distorted. That's the word I wanted to stick in your head. Distorted. You're getting a distorted message, sort of distorted vision of the world. The world is different because you're not, I look at you and go, oh, what a beautiful little lady there. And then it comes in here and goes up there. And if I get a distorted message, it might be, ooh, she looks evil and mean. I don't know. She might bite me or something.
Thank you.
Right? So the big question is this happening to you? Okay, is it happening to you? Well, the answer is I don't know. The only way to know is to take a look. We're going to look and see what's going on. So this is why we take the x-ray. I don't want to guess. We're going to test. Okay? We don't guess, we test, we measure. We know exactly you're not stuck, you're not permanent, you're not doomed. There's answers. We just got to find the right answers. Okay? This is not something you have to live with. You're not stuck. Okay? They're not going to leave here guessing. They're not going to allow it. So if this is you, and you've been dealing with this for a long time, okay? You've tried things that didn't work. You feel like something's still off, and you're ready for some real answers, real solutions. Let's get busy, huh? So here's the reality. Okay? You basically have two choices right now. Two. That's it. Option number one, I can stay on that course, ignore this and stay on the same path that obviously isn't working very well, or it's not working as effectively, and they just got to double down on the dosing and give you more drugs and so on, and watch it get worse. Or option B, get it checked and know for sure. Know exactly what's going on with your body. Those are the two choices. So we try to make it as simple as we can. So normally to come into the office and get checked, I've been doing this for a while, so I can collect a premium, I guess, but it's $250 for the exam and x-rays. Tonight it's $49. Okay? Get your name down, get real answers, and don't leave here guessing. Make sense? And that's the point. We're going to come up with real answers. Okay? When you get a chance, read this story. It's pretty cool. About Mona. He's awesome. I borrow that. Okay? So here's how it works. Everybody go like this. Make sure you have one of these. Who does not have one of these? Everybody got one? Put them in the sky so I can see.
I have one, but I took notes on mine.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, let's get her another one because she took notes. Keep those notes. Okay, you need one? Or you got yours. Everybody got one, yes? Okay. Well, you got a pen. You got pens? Okay, just making sure. So what we're going to do, we're going to schedule your appointment, and if we overload at one time, the staff will let you know when we get you up there, okay, to schedule the appointment. So all you got to do is put your name, date of birth, and phone number. We need that for our computer system. And then you circle the one that works for you, all right? Now, there's a center section there with 2 lines on it, okay? Now, this is where I made my point, hopefully, during the program. When should you get started on this?
Yesterday.
Yeah, I always say that. Yesterday. Thank you. Okay, yesterday, right? And the kids are more important to me than anybody in this room. Because if we can start molding their minds and brains and getting them understanding what health is about, they get to transform. And they get to have a great trajectory the whole time. So for every your family member you write down, so it's you, the next person is $20. Okay, so you and your husband, for example, okay? And then children, any children are free. No cost for x-rays. So we'll do the whole workup for free. And if you've got real young babies, we have a test called the nerve test. Or pregnant ladies, we run a test. We measure the voltages coming out of the nerves, and we do the before and after. Everything's before and after. You're going to see the changes, not just feel it, but you'll see the changes structurally. Sound good? All right. So what's going to happen next, you guys go ahead and fill those out. And then Stephanie is going to come over and have you guys one at a time. We'll take you up whenever you're ready. Just let Stephanie know. She'll walk you up to the front and get you guys scheduled for your appointments. Okay. Did you not get a card?
I do. It's in my purse.
Oh, pick it out, girl. All right. So next step is you guys can start working on those papers. The next part is the Q&A section where you guys can ask me questions, and I hope to make a multiple choice if possible. I'm just kidding. Okay, I'll answer questions for you. Okay. Anybody have any questions?